Okay, so welcome everybody to our family learning as a family session. And today we have something really wonderful, a very excellent information for all of us. And that has to do with Skyward, which is always a challenge for all of us. Uh, Particularly for me, it's always a challenge, and I can understand, and I can definitely have empathy for parents when we have to find information on Skyward. But we have an expert tonight talking about Skyward. And another important tool that we are using now in remote learning is iReady. iReady is a very helpful tool to help our students with their reading and math skills. And again, we have a wonderful presenter tonight to talk about the how to do these iReady from home. So I want to introduce Geraldine Ashba. She is the state and federal coordinator in the district, and she's also very an expert on iReady. So I welcome Geraldine, and please, Geraldine.
Great, thank you. Like Minerva said, my name is Geraldine Ashba. I'm the state and federal coordinator. I've been in the district for the last 23 years as a teacher and an instructional coach. And so I've used iReady firsthand in the classroom with students. And today I'm just going to introduce you to what iReady is, kind of give you some resources if you have questions about iReady, where you can go to look, and then also different ways to support your child at home, and on iReady in general, because most of this is just in general, but being at home does present a different challenge for us. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show a short video just kind of talking about what iReady is. Can you see my screen okay? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We cannot hear the video, Geraldine.
Oh, you can't. Well, know why. Let me stop it though.
I can try, and I can share my screen, and this is the link you shared in the chat box?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And maybe it's because I'm a co-host and not a host. And I can go ahead and you can look for it, Minerva, and I can go ahead and keep talking if that works for you. If you can find that, that would be amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so basically it was just a quick overview of iReady, but iReady is, like Minerva said, a reading and a math online platform in which students, teachers can utilize the diagnostic information to help meet the needs of students and to personalize their instruction as they monitor growth of students. So it kind of just talks about it. Go ahead and try it if you would like, Minerva. Did you get it? See if it has any volume.
Hi, my name is Mark Bernstein. I'm a National Director at Curriculum Associates, and we are the iReady people.
Magdalena, can you hear it?
iReady serves two functions.
I can.
It's an online diagnostic assessment that pinpoints math and reading skills down to the sub-skill level. And number two, it's online learning that caters to a student's specific needs, whether those needs are on, above, or below level. I'd like to share 4 things you need to know about iReady. Number 1. The iReady online assessment is adaptive in nature. This means that students see questions based on how they're performing. If a student struggles, the questions get easier. If a student is breezing through, the questions become more challenging. Once a student completes the diagnostic, the teacher will know exactly what the student needs, so it eliminates the necessity to over-test our children, thus allowing more time for teaching. Number 2, the iReady online instruction is personalized to the individual. Once a student completes the diagnostic, his or her results will differ from classmates. So we give each student their own pathway based on diagnostic results. If the student needs help with reading comprehension, that student will get lessons to help. If the student has geometry skills above grade level, that student will receive geometry content that's above grade level. support for those who have gaps to fill, enrichment for those who are exceeding grade level expectations. Number 3, iReady is not a grading tool. Your child won't get an A or C- based on how they perform in iReady. iReady supports students, challenges students, gives students math and reading content that is right at their level. iReady helps children to grow, but it is not used to assign grades. And number 4, iReady is not designed to replace the teacher. In every school district, teachers are an irreplaceable asset. iReady supports teachers by helping group students with similar needs for targeted instruction, what we call differentiation. Once small groups are established, iReady's teacher toolbox is just one of the many resources that teachers may use to provide targeted instruction. But replace the teacher? Never. Thank you very much for watching this video. We look forward to seeing your students succeed with iReady.
Okay, so just to recap kind of on some of the points that were made in the video, iReady starts with the diagnostic, and the diagnostic is given in our district 3 times a year. So students are finishing up the fall diagnostic now. The window closes on October 2nd, which is Friday. The diagnostic is adaptive, like was explained in the video, that if they are struggling with questions, the questions will get a little bit easier. And if they're excelling and moving forward in them, then they will get a little bit more challenging, which then provides a personalized pathway for the student in their lessons. The data that is obtained from the iReady diagnostic is used not only for in-class interventions, but also for our LAP services at the elementary level and our title services at the middle school. But it is one piece of data that our instructional coaches look at to make that determination. So that is about the diagnostic. The iReady pathway, or the personalized learning piece, again, it's your child's own pathway. It's self-paced, and it's given lessons at your child's individual skill level. And as I'm talking, if you have any questions and you want to add them in the chat, feel free to put them in there and I will try to answer them for you. As we're finishing up our round of fall diagnostics, instructional coaches in each of the buildings are compiling that data, and the results of the iReady diagnostic will be going out the week of October 12th. And elementaries will be able to pick up those results in the bins that they place outside the school with all of their other materials. And the middle school and junior high will be sending those results home with a cover letter and some reading tips and ways that you can help your student. Before I go on, I did want to share on this website. Let me get back to the screen share. And maybe, hold on. Okay. Try that again, share. Okay, on this website that I put the link in the window for, there's a menu up here. And of course, that first page was that video that you're welcome to watch again. There is information on assessing at home, and because students did it this fall with teachers via Zoom, and because this website has actually changed since last week, that video did not go out to families. And what I just shared with you in regards to what is iReady was right there. And then, so you can watch the video again. And then also on that page are the facts. So if you have questions about different things in iReady, this is a wealth of information. For example, I was thinking, you know, what if a parent doesn't know what the scale score means on a student's diagnostic? There's the question there, and it gives you some facts about scale score right here. So when you get your student's reading report, it will give you a scale score. It'll actually give you a number, which may or may not, which even for me, I have to look at a chart and figure out what that number means. But the most important thing that you can do is to know, is your child on grade level or within grade level? Are they 1 grade level below, or are they 2 grade levels below? So I pulled up, I'm gonna have to share my screen again, some examples so that you can kind of see what that looks like. The cover letter that you get from the district will state, or the report that you get will state whether your child is on or below grade level. And so that's really good information for you to have. Before I leave this website and show you an example of a report, again, that's a great place to go for facts. There is also ways here that you can support your student. So different ways you can look at the data together and how you can talk about the diagnostic results. What are some areas that, let's look and see what are some areas you did well in, what are some areas that were challenging, and then using the reading tips, thinking of ways that you can support your child in that area. So I am going to go back now. I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to.
There is a question for you. And
Yes.
Karen is asking, well, she says, this is a very intuitive tool, but sometimes I think that my students go from one lesson to another and then they forget. How can I have them repeat a task they have done before so that they can remember what they learned?
Oh, that's a really good question. I know that it's scaffold, so I think the program itself automatically comes back to things even if students have mastered them. But when you see where a student does well, and it looks like I should have spell checked, so sorry about that. When you see where a student does well, you can still go back to those areas. So if you're looking at my screen right now, I'm looking at an example of a student's score report for reading. I believe this particular student was, I believe I pulled a 5th grader. And this student, no, that can't be right because I'm looking at their on grade level or close to grade level for 3rd. And you can see that they were tested in all of those different areas: phonological awareness, phonics, high frequency, vocabulary, comprehension, literature, comprehension, and informal text. So you can see all the areas that that student tested out. So they tested proficient in those areas. The first 3, yes.
Is there a way you can make the screen a little bigger?
I don't think so. Let me see if I can get out into the original screen and see if I can. I'm gonna have to stop share. I have a, oh, maybe, hold on. Looks like I did it. Screen share. Does that help? Can you see that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So you can see that this student, and if I recall, this student was a 5th grader, so they were, it may not be a 5th grader because I had to do it twice, but they've tested out in phonological awareness, phonics, and high frequency words, so they are proficient in those areas. They're a mid-3rd grade in vocabulary and early 3rd grade in comprehension, literature, and comprehension informational text. So based on that, the areas that they're in the green, however, so they are not, the green line there would put them at grade level. So they are a little bit below, but not a year or 2 below. Does that make sense? So if I were the parent or the teacher, I would really be focusing in on vocabulary and comprehension for literature and informational text. And what's great about iReady is it has resources for teachers to use in the classroom. And then it also does, I believe there's some parent components that I did not pull up today to share with you, where you could go in and see maybe some sample lessons. I will work on that while Magdalena's presenting and see if I can find, if you see an area that a child is struggling in, if you can pull some resources from iReady. So that is reading. An example of a report for math. I think this was my 5th grader. Okay, so, and I pulled this bottom piece down here. I pulled that so you could see what that would look like, but it's very similar to this information up here. So here are the 4 overall domains for math that are being taught and tested. So numbers and operations, algebra and algebraic thinking, measurement and data, and geometry. Okay, so this student is not at grade level because so this is my 5th grader, because notice how this student up here, everything was in the green. Down here, we're yellow, so that's 1 grade level below. And then right here, we're in red, so 2 grade levels below. So when you look at your child's score report, and you can also see this bar graph or this bar here, is not up into the green, and this green line would put it at grade level.
That first question was asked in Spanish, and I tried to translate, but Paul helped, and he is writing the question in English for me.
Okay.
And the
perfect.
question is, how can students repeat a specific task that they may have already done, or can they?
They can. In fact, if they, on a given lesson, if they are flagged because they are not being successful in that lesson, it will repeat itself. And then they'll have an opportunity to do it again. And sometimes I think they have the opportunity to do it more than once. And after so many times, it will block them from doing it again. And that's really where the teacher would need to intervene to help guide that student through that lesson or unblock that lesson to try again. So yes, if they are not successful the first time, the program will ask them to do it over. Any other questions about this score report?
Not that I can see.
Okay, so like I said, you'll be able to tell just based on that report, the green being at grade level, yellow being 1 grade below grade level, and red being 2 grades below. And the elementaries will have these out in the bins where parents pick their materials up on October 12th. And the junior high and middle school will be sending them home in the mail. So you'll get one for reading and math for your child. And if a student qualifies for services for LAP or title, it is just, I just want to make parents aware, it's never based on this one data point. Realizing that iReady is just one piece of the puzzle with a student, we do always look at other measures of assessment. So we might give a student a DIBELS or a developmental reading survey to check their skills. We would never base a decision for intervention on this one assessment. So I don't know if that was 20 minutes or not, Minerva. I felt like I went very fast.
Oh, I think you did great.
Any other questions for me? I will pull up and look for some parent resources for specific skills while Magdalena is sharing.
Thank you, Geraldine. So now it's
Thank
time for Magdalena Sanchez, and she is going to help us understand a little bit more Skyward.
That is right, because I am very comfortable with Skyward. So let's get started. I'm going to start right from the beginning. You should all be seeing my screen. What you should be seeing right now is the West Valley School District website. Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can see
Yes.
that.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I just know sometimes people struggle to even find where to go to log into Skyward, and I wanted to let you know that on each of our websites, if you look at the very top, you should see an icon there that says Skyward. So if you click on it, it's going to take you right to the window to log in. You should see West Valley School District. We usually note days that are going to be unavailable. And then let me give you some other great information. So login. Your login is usually the first 5 of your last name, the first 3 letters of your first name, and then either 000 or 001, 002, or so on, depending on how many other people have that same combination. So that's kind of a frequent question we get.
Can you type that in the chat box, Magdalena? Because for me, that would be too fast.
Oh, absolutely.
And while you type that, I just want to remind everybody, and one frequent mistake is that we go to West Valley School District and we forget we are in Yakima. And if we don't remember, we are looking at West Valley Spokane, right?
That is correct. I always have to say West Valley School District 208, and then I usually say Yakima, because if you call places, they don't know where it's at. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in login is first 5 of last name plus the first 3 of your first name plus 000, 001, 002, etc. Okay. If you don't know your login or your password, if you've forgotten them, and it may be a while since you logged in, you do have the option of selecting forgot your login and password. So let's go ahead and click that now. And if you know your login, you can go ahead and put that in. If not, you can put your email. So that's a really important thing about us having your email on file, because this is the way we communicate tremendously, especially this year. But this is a nice way for the system to actually be able to say, oh, you forgot your email. It's just like every other application. It'll send you an email letting you know, hey, you told us you forgot your email. Here's a link where you can go and reset it, or here's your login, right? So that's some great information in case you forgot it. I'm gonna go ahead and take you now to, we're gonna log into a sample district because I want you to see information and we can't share student information here. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. So this looks very similar to ours. One of the things when you log into Skyward is that you do need to select the Open Family Access button over here. So when we pick that, it's gonna take us here. Then we're going to see some information. We're going to see some tabs on the side that we can choose to get information for. We're going to see all of our students listed up here. If we want to look at one student specifically, we can click on the drop down and then select our student. The reason this is very important, both here and on the mobile app, is because different schools allow you to see different bits of information. And I'll kind of give you an example of that. As we go through the tab, we can see the calendar. On our calendar, we can see important events. If there is homework assignments, we can also actually see how they did. We can see absences and tardies. We can see past assignments and how they were scored. And we can see future ones also. All right. So, and you do have some options as far as selecting what you would like to see on this calendar. Okay. Next, the biggest option I think is the grade book. This is the one that was always important for me. All right, was this I thought that was the student. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so gradebook. This is a great way to get information about how your student is doing. You're going to see each of their classes listed, and then you're going to see their grades. A lot of times I've had parents ask, well, what does that mean? How did they get that grade? If you actually click on it anywhere in Skyward that you see that something is blue and underlined, it's a hyperlink and you can click on it and it will actually open it up and show you how they earned that grade. Here you can see that they have an A. It's actually 93.63%. You can see their homework that was under the practice area. They don't have any quizzes yet. And then their test and how they did. So it's pretty nice to be able to see exactly where their grades came from, if they have any missing assignments. You can also print out this information if you'd like to have it. Some schools you are actually able to click on the teacher's name. It'll give you some information and you can email them. It's just a setting depending on what is set up. Okay. Let's go ahead and head over to attendance. So we can see quite a bit of attendance information. Again, this is a sample student, so they've been gone quite a bit. You can see the date they were gone, the reason, the period, and the class. And you can also get some totals, how much they were gone term one by the day, and then also year to date for excused, unexcused, and other. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to student information. This is a great way for you to verify that the information that we have for the student is correct. You'll see the student's school email, their home email, phone numbers, address, gender, language, their birth date, emergency contacts. We can also see the parent information, so we can make sure that this is all correct. So if you see phone numbers or email addresses that need to be updated, addresses and phone numbers need to be sent to the school and the school can update them, but email addresses you are actually able to update yourself. So we can go to the schedule. Again, we can see what the student is scheduled for. An example of something that you would see in one school and not another. So this particular student is a senior, they're in high school. So I can see their graduation requirements. These are what the school has said that they are, how many credits they're required to have to graduate. We would not see this for a second or third grader. They still have a long time before they have to start worrying about this sort of stuff. You can also see the portfolio. So if we had anything attached here, things like report cards, which you will see in West Valley's Family Access, health information. You can see their vaccination records that we have listed for them. You can also see login history. When was the last time you logged in and where? I also wanted to let you know that if you are here and you needed to change your password, you can simply by clicking My Account. Here is your information here. You can go ahead and go in. Oh, it's not letting me, but you do actually have the ability to change your password right here. This one has changed login, but you do see the email address where you could go in and update that. You can also request to get emails for attendance. You can get emails regarding the grading. So if a student does below a certain percentage on any assignment or above a certain percentage, you can say that you would like to receive emails letting you know that. It's a great way of telling them good job if they did great, and if they're struggling, you know, have a conversation about it. You can also request progress report emails. So you can request these either daily, weekly, or monthly. Now these emails are separate from the progress reports that your teachers are sending you. Currently in West Valley, most of our secondary teachers send, you know, a history teacher will send a progress report once a week. Math teacher will send a progress report. These ones are progress report emails that you are asking for. It'll give you a summary of their grades in all of their classes, also their absences. Okay. So that is the bulk of this information. I did want to show you what the app looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. Now, real briefly for the app, since I'm not able to show you going in, the Skyward app is available for iPhone, Android, and some Windows devices. So I've yet to find what Windows devices those are, but we hear they are available. When you download the Skyward app, it is free. The first thing that it's going to ask you to do is to locate your district. So that's where knowing that West Valley Yakima versus West Valley Spokane is important. You can put it in by location or by zip code, or you can type in the district name. When you type it in, it's going to give you a list. You can click on the school district that you actually need. And once you select your school district, it is going to ask you for your login and your password. After you do that, it is going to have you put in a passcode, a 4-digit passcode. That way you're not having to put in your login and your password every single time, because we know that is more difficult to do on a phone versus a keyboard. So any questions on logging in and just the basics so far?
I don't see any questions.
All right. Okay, well then I'm going to show you what the mobile app looks like.
And I just wanted to comment on the progress report piece. When I set that up for my oldest child, that was really handy to get that automatically sent to me every couple weeks, I believe I set it for. It's a great resource.
Yeah, I always like to recommend, especially the autumn emails for attendance and for some of those assignments, because sometimes it's nice to know instantaneously when they did a good job and letting, you know.
Right.
We always catch them when they don't, so it's good to catch them when they're doing a good job. All right, so this is the mobile app. When we get in, we get to what is the home page. You'll see if there is any messages. So I didn't show you Message Center on the other screen, but Message Center is where the school district or teachers or someone can be sending a message to you, just letting you know what's happening. A lot of times we duplicate, we will send an email and we will also post it in the Message Center message, just so you can always go back and get that information. So here I can see class grades for student. Now you notice in our desktop version of Skyward, I had my all students and then I could pick which of my students I wanted to look for. In this case, my options are right here and I'm only seeing 2 students. The reason why is for class grades, this particular family only has 2 students that has grades to show. So sometimes people are looking in the mobile app and they are not seeing one of their students because they're looking at an area that is not available, let's say for their younger student, usually a first or second grader. So if you maneuver to a different area, that'll really help you see. But since we're on Gertrude, we can see her grades. Again, we can see grade. If we click on it, we can still see the summary of how they got their grade. So we can see that's how they did in concert, their participation, when they didn't, something wasn't graded, they were sick here. Okay. And if you want to know how their grades or the grade marks are, if you click over on grade marks, you can see exactly what earns them an A, an A minus, a B plus, and so on. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of here. All right. Now, if I want to maneuver around and see different information, I'm going to go right up to these little 3 lines, click on that. Here, I can also maneuver to different students. So now you see we have all of our students instead of just the 2 that we were seeing here for class grades. So we can go to Emil if we needed to. In Skyward Mobile, we do have limited information that you can see. So the big ones are attendance. We can see their absences, the reasons why, when they were absent, of course, and then we also can still see totals, our year to date, and then for each specific term. We can see our calendar once that loads. So again, we can see important events and then homework assignments that are due. Okay. You can also download the calendar if you would like. Here's our grade book. So this is just reviewing class grades where we were before. Again, we could click on it, or we can also go to assignments. And this is really going to give us the details of how they did on each assignment. It's a little hard to read on Skyward Mobile, I'm not going to lie to you. I tend to go to class grades and then just click from here to get a breakdown of how they got that grade. But if you're looking for a specific assignment and how they did, you can always maneuver to assignments. Right. So under the full menu, here is Message Center. So this is, again, if the school, the district, or a teacher has sent a message to the parent, it is going to be listed below. Portfolio. For West Valley, this is where you would see report cards available. Here's the student schedule by the day and by the term. Just so you know, I know some of you are noticing that we have term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. The reminder, this is a sample district. We do not post all of the schedules. So semester 2 schedules are not posted for many schools. So you probably wouldn't see that in your Skyward mobile at this time. All right. And then finally, we have student information. And again, this is going to be very similar to what we saw on our desktop, where we're going to get the name, number, address, gender, language, grad year, principal information. I have the email information for the principal if I needed it. We have our family information and emergency contacts. So great way of going in and reviewing what information you've given the school, and maybe there's something that needs to be updated, because many of you signed up emergency contacts when this kids started in kinder and now they're juniors or seniors. So things may have changed. Just a great way of getting information. And then we can always head back by clicking the back arrow. We can also click on the very top button here. And that takes us back to the home screen. So that is how you can navigate as a parent family access, either the desktop version or mobile. All right. Is there any questions on that?
I don't see any questions, and I think this has been very helpful. We see no more questions and no comments in the chat box. So I think we can finish our session today a little earlier, and that's okay.
I think
Minerva, can I just say one more thing that I left out earlier?
Yes.
The goal of the school district for iReady has always been 45 minutes for reading and 45 minutes for math. And that criteria comes to us from iReady, and that's when they see the most growth with students. And so when I say 45 minutes, it's 45 minutes per week for each of those content areas. And I believe that that requirement is still kind of what the teachers are asking students to do during this remote learning time.
Yeah.
So one way you can really help your student is to make sure that they are getting that, time, and they don't have to do it all at once. It's for the week. So even if they just did 15 minutes each a day or 10 minutes each a day, that would be good. And then I did want to share one more thing, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Me continuing to take the time. I'm going to pull up my screen again, and I'm going to go back to this link that I shared with you and to this how can I support my student page. And if you look in these different small paragraphs of how you can support your student, there are little links embedded in here in English and Spanish. And there's a student dashboard. There's some fun trackers if you're trying to keep track of their time and their progress at home. But the student dashboard comes with a little cheat sheet. And so it really does help you understand how to navigate through the program, how to choose a topic or a subject, how to understand their path that's been assigned to them, how to see when a teacher has assigned a student or a lesson to a student. And then also if you're seeing that a student is really struggling with some lessons, that would be a really great time to reach out to the teacher and find out how they can support your child either by unblocking it so they can do it again, or moving them forward, providing some sort of intervention in the classroom. You can see what kind of progress they've made for the week. So this time on task right here. So for my reading lesson stats, I can see they've put in 30 minutes. Our goal is 45, so that's about where you want them. And then any work that they've completed, as well as their scores. So I just wanted to share that little cheat sheet with you that can just kind of help you navigate through the program if you're not as familiar with it. That was it, just some things I left off initially. So any questions there before I wrap up my piece? Okay. Don't hesitate to reach out to your student's teacher if you have questions about iReady.
Yeah, this was really helpful. Thank you, both of you. And next week, we are going to have our session on Tuesday the 6th. And then for the following week, we're going to be moving these sessions to Mondays. So, but thank you, everybody. And I think that for once, I recorded the webinar in the right way. And it's so good because this is very helpful information. And well, we finished, and thank you for your attending this session. Thank you, Magdalena. Thank you, Geraldine.
Thank you. Have a good